Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to be the brave one and start. This is first time I'm ever asking a question at a national conference, and I'm really starstruck. So give me a minute.
We'll look away. We'll look away.
Thank you. So you are in a space full of librarians, school librarians, public librarians, academic librarians, and you know that across the country we are on the front lines fighting with censors. I have colleagues who have been reported to police as pedophiles. I have colleagues who have received life threats. I have colleagues who retired early. I have colleagues who had to go on medical leave because they were being harassed by parents and community members so much. And as much as we are doing our very best to fight censors, we are getting to the point when we are very tired and scared, and we are starting to self-censor ourselves. So we are making very difficult decisions. Am I going to be brave enough to put one of these books in my collection? Or am I going to make a decision to not to do it so the censors are not going to go after me? So you as authors, what can you tell us? How can we just keep going? Thank you.
Well, that's whoa.
I actually,
Go.
sorry, I want to address that for a moment because in addition to being a writer, I'm a 9th grade English teacher in a public school in New Jersey. And we see what's happening nationally around issues of critical race theory, issues of which books are in classrooms and libraries and things like that. And I think we have a responsibility as storytellers, and that includes librarians as storytellers too, that are talking up books and finding out what people are interested in, to tell the truth. Because I think that's what is inside of all of us. I think that's what brings us to books and to story. And I'm very proud to say that 2 weeks ago, I was recognized by the New Jersey Education Association for work in equity in education, largely because as things have gotten tougher, I have just ran further in that direction because you need people to run in that direction. The same way like Karel was talking about Muhammad Ali, there may not be everyone, but if every library in your county had just one person who was stocking all of these books, someone's going to find it, someone's going to read it, and someone's life is going to be better for it, and they can't get us all. So I really think that's an important thing because these books are so incredibly important. And I see on a daily basis kids that say, you know, my life has been changed by reading I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. There are all these different books that are so important to individual kids and individual people. So
Couldn't help myself, have to acknowledge I'm from New Jersey as well. So thank you.
there you go, buddy. All right, thank you.
They make them tough.
I think
in
the
Jersey.
one thing I wanted to add to that is, you know, librarians, you guys have this unique, powerful position. And I think, you know, sometimes we start off something and say, well, I do this because I love books. I do this because well, society has changed, policy has changed, politics has changed, the zeitgeist has changed. Therefore, some of you guys are going to be reluctant warriors, reluctant heroes. You might not have signed up to be heroes, but now because society will dictate that you guys take stands, society will dictate your what started off as a passion now has turned into a crusade. And some will, and no judgment, some will volunteer to opt out of that crusade. Librarians, you know, we honor you guys because of the power you have. Also, the thing I love about librarians is that, you know, we talked about this last night a little bit. We have the gatekeepers, the publishing world. They block so much. They can't relate to a lot of, you know. I wrote my book 10 years ago. Could not get a publisher at all, multiple times. So there are these gatekeepers. I think librarians become something beyond the gatekeepers. And I think it's a tough position that you guys are in. And you have to decide, I'm going to accept my role. I'm going to accept some of the challenges of this role. But what you need to hear, and and everyone on this stage will say, we see you, we appreciate you.
Yep.
And there are children who might not be able to articulate that. There are children that will be influenced by some of your decisions that won't recognize until 20 years later, 30, 40 years later, when they're running for president, when some young girl is running for president and winning because a seed was planted, that she read a book that maybe she wasn't supposed to read. And so you guys have that power. And so we can't fight that fight with you every day. All we can do is right now in these instances know that we as artists see you, truly appreciate you. And that's something, I hope it means something, but you know, when you're hungry, I hope it feeds you.
I just want to chime in on that for a second. So I sat in school for 12 years and college learning American history and was completely deprived of all kinds of things that I didn't know took place until after I started my own journey of reading my own books because they didn't teach it in school. I don't think the books were banned. If we're all being honest with ourselves, this whole movement, I don't even know what to call it or what it is the reaction and the response to the Black Lives Matter movement. Because people started to feel like their kids, the white kids that were out there marching for Black lives, were being indoctrinated somehow. And this is sort of their way to say, okay, the parents, you don't really have to care about that to that extent. And the pushback on that movement is what we're all experiencing now, because I've never before this heard of books being banned in any capacity. So I applaud all librarians. I thank you all. I know it can't be tough, but like Mr. LaSalle just said, we're there fighting the fight with you in silence, and if I could be there Monday morning with you, I would be. But I'm there in spirit, so thank you so much, and I appreciate your bravery. So thank you.